players are kind of experiencing, or like what they would experience when they're going through.
You brought a clip?
Yeah, I did. I found it.
Nice.
I found a clip on the floor.
Found a clip.
The stronghold you're looking at here, this is called Hope's Light. In the jagged shores of northern Scotland, there's this great lighthouse called Hope's Light, and its flame has been extinguished. The port town of Merwin nearby is particularly affected. It's the only port town in all of Scotland. They consider this a sacred place, and obviously the sailors of these perilous waters, they kind of rely on the lighthouse to navigate. So your kind of high-level objective is to just find a path through to the lighthouse and figure out what happened. As the player, when you arrive there, you notice the Drowned have risen. The Drowned are this brand new monster family in Diablo IV. They're these super mysterious creatures that kind of shamble up onto the shores from the depths of the sea. And they drag these like bells and mysterious idols with them. Nobody really knows like who they are or what they want. But one of the other things that we're super excited to kind of do with Strongholds is to try and showcase these monster families, kind of give you a glimpse into what they're about.
Yeah, because I know like back during BlizzCon, we actually, BlizzCon 2019, when we revealed Diablo IV, we actually did showcase the Drowned for the first time. And then since then, I know we had a quarterly update blog that talked a little bit about monster families, where we even talked about like familiars, for instance, and so forth that were up there. But like, yeah, this is kind of like the first like updated look I think people are seeing of the Drowned here in a stronghold, which is really cool to see.
Oh, legendary.
Yeah.
I never even knew what it was because I was playing with the UI off. But actually, that might be going back to kind of strongholds at the system level, and kind of like why you, the player, might care. Strongholds, they provide you with a lot of really awesome rewards. Obviously, you slay a bunch of monsters, you kill a boss, you're going to get a bunch of XP and loot. Beyond that, strongholds also reward you with a high amount of renown. Renown is another new system in Diablo IV. And just to quickly summarize that, renown, it rewards you with engaging with various open world activities. You gain renown in each of the 5 regions of the game. And when you hit certain milestones of renown, you'll get rewards. You'll get really cool stuff like additional potion charges, skill points, even Paragon points at the later milestones. Beyond all this, like strictly, gold, XP, loot, renown, beyond all this strictly character progression stuff, I mentioned before, conquering a stronghold has a lasting impact on the world and unlocks a bunch of additional content. When you've completed a stronghold, and in some cases you've kind of cleansed the evil as much as it can be in a world like Sanctuary, people feel safe enough to come back, some strongholds will actually become towns after, they'll have vendors, waypoints. Other strongholds might unlock a shortcut path to a different area, a waypoint, side quests. Many strongholds actually unlock dungeons. So, if you are hunting for aspects in the Codex of Power, or you're engaging with the Whispers of the Dead or Nightmare Dungeons endgame systems, you're probably really going to want to discover these.
That's awesome. So yeah, just like the last stream we had, we talked a little bit about the Codex of Power. So obviously going through dungeons ends up unlocking or finding new codexes. Actually completing strongholds will unlock new dungeons that will let you get more codex or more powers within your codex itself. So it kind of like opens up more and more, especially with strongholds itself. That's awesome, and the fact that it's a lasting impact on the world is pretty crazy. Can you see strongholds like on the map, like as you're kind of like traversing through Sanctuary?
Yeah, absolutely. Just so like any other area of the game, it starts as kind of undiscovered space, and then once you've discovered it, they show up on the map. They have some iconography to let you know that hey, there's a cool piece of content for you to go do here.
Nice. And players themselves will see tons of these all throughout, all like as Sanctuary that they can actually either maybe like do a little bit later or come back to and so forth from that side.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, there's multiple strongholds in every region, and one of the strongholds actually have a minimum level. So you might actually discover one that you're just under-leveled for, there's nothing stopping you from trying to take it on, but you're probably going to die.
Unless you're playing hardcore, and then you
Well,
probably
then
don't.
then you make a new character because you died.
Yeah, exactly. That's when you question it a little bit. Yeah. So, and that's another question we get a lot is like, is hardcore going to be in Diablo 4? And yes, it will be. So that's when you would question the idea of wanting to try to conquer a stronghold at a lower level. So, but yeah, with the and a lot again, this is just a brand new feature for Diablo 4 in itself. So it actually allows you to essentially just continue to add additional content to the game and change the world completely, because the fact that you can actually get new waypoints or a whole new town that you can actually interact with new vendors and so forth from that side is also just completely like game changing from that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the new content that you unlock, it is also kind of like part of the renown system. So you complete a stronghold and you get side quests and dungeons, and all these things also feed into the renown system. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. Kind of completing a stronghold is kind of like only half of the feature, right?
Yeah.
And the other half is all the additional stuff that gets unlocked afterwards.
That's very cool. Yeah, Strongholds is sounding awesome. I know, like myself, I played the game. People will be able to play it really soon, but the perks of working at Blizzard.
You heard it here first. We play the game.
We play the game. The perks of working at Blizzard. But yeah, it most definitely is a cool feature, and I had Strongholds completely change like the whole entire map, and just having like even a waypoint closer to wherever you need to go for a dungeon is also really great to have. So. Of course, and Art provided here this footage here of a barbarian kind of going through. I know this barbarian has got like some legendary type of gear and like some unique skills and so forth that are like kind of modified based off the gear. So trying to show off a little bit of a higher level barbarian for people because the barb's just a ton of fun to play.
Yeah, super fun.
Cool. Well, I know that we kind of went over a little bit about armor systems and the strongholds themselves. We do a lot of the feedback from the last stream is like people were hoping that we spend a little bit more time on Q&A.
We also added damage mitigation to monsters in Diablo 4, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to talk about. So we used to not have a damage mitigation for monsters. So monsters used to not have armor. So, however amount the damage player deals, that's however amount of damage the monster gonna take. Mm-hmm. So it has an advantage. It's pretty straightforward. It's really easy to understand. But it also has a problem that is whenever we want to increase the monster's defense power, the only way we can do it is through increasing the monster's hit point. Mm-hmm. Like we say, from level 31, a monster from level 31 to 32, we want to increase their defense power, the time to kill by 10%. That means level 32 monster gonna have 10% more hit point or life than the level 31 monster. If you do this from level 1 to level 100, and at the end, it ends up with a super big number, like billions or even trillions. And for player to be able to kill this monster in a reasonable time, the player needs to deal like billions of damage. And in Diablo 4, we show this damage number as a floating combat text. We cannot hide it. And so because the number is so big, so long, it covers a big chunk of the screen.
Yeah, it's hard to understand too. Like
yeah.
Reading, combat in Diablo is really fast. You want to be able to quickly understand how much damage you're doing.
Yeah.
When you go and you want to build a new werewolf character or a new druid character, you have all those aspects to play with from level 1 as soon as you want to start kind of like leveling up gear and getting into a position where you can make use of them.
That's
we
right.
love this idea of like making it so it's easier to go play with other builds.
Yeah, I love too how we've really been thinking about crafting in Diablo 4, and I love how the occultist figures into that crafting, right? Because, when we think about legendaries in Diablo 4, what we're really talking about is the legendary power. And that legendary power can be moved around. You can use it to upgrade rares, and the occultist is sort of the central point of all of that all of that crafting load.
That's absolutely right. So that was one big change we add with, and we've talked about in previous blogs before. But one big change in Diablo 4 is allowing legendary powers of a particular type to roll on lots of different item slots, which gives players an interesting game of deciding where they want to place certain powers to make the maximum use of them for their builds. Now, the Codex lets them put them on the slots that are appropriate for that power. They can choose, right? But another limitation for the Codex power, in addition to not actually having the ability to collect all of legendary powers in the game, there's many, many more for you to find as you're playing through Diablo 4. Those powers also are always rolled at the lowest level of power possible. So it is always better for you to go find a legendary item that has the power that you're interested in, and then you can choose to use that item directly or extract the power from that item into an aspect crystal, then go in and print into your own item of your choosing. So those legendary items you find out in the world are always going to end up being more powerful as a general rule.
Yeah, I really like the idea that, like, no matter what, like, finding stuff is still going to lead to, like, you know, potentially the best opportunity of getting the most amount of power, but you still have the customization ability of being able to, you know what, I found this power, I would still like to use this on another piece of gear and add that within the Codex of Power, and you still can.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's great about it. Exactly to that point is that you can have, let's say that you are leveling up and you get a legendary power that you really love, and you start to sort of make your build around it. With the Codex of Power, you can acquire new gear, and in fact through essences as well. And you can extract, you can bring that power with you, so you can maintain that build. So you're not sort of losing a core part of your build as you're getting new gear.
Yeah, and the fun thing about this is that we do want players as they're beginning to go through their class phase, they're making their skill tree selections, they're going deeper and deeper into this, they're making their fun choices. We do want them to be able to still want to chase certain other powers. Like, for example, for this, like, you know, kind of like melee focused lightning build, the player here is participating in right now. Like, there are other powers that they really, really want for this build. Like, there's a lightning bolt legendary that is going to allow lightning warp legendary. It's going to allow them to have the spear basically orbit around them as part of combat, which, as you can see, would be awesome when they're teleporting into packs of monsters trying to deal damage when they're up and close and personal. So there's lots more things for that lightning sword to collect as they're going through, and then hopefully find the very best versions of those legendary powers as well as just find it in the first place.
Yeah, so I know with the Codex of Power, this is kind of a new feature that's coming in Diablo 4, and we'll have more information and more details regarding, like, different...
And an aspect in the Codex of Power is effectively a legendary power that's been put in this very particular form. And every one of these dungeons that players progress through in the overworld has a unique legendary power via the aspect found inside of them.
Yeah. What I love about that is that you can create a new character, and you can look at some of the powers that are available through these dungeons and say, okay, I really want to target this power. I'm going to go to this dungeon, get that power. You know, so you're less dependent on, like, well, I hope this power drops.
Absolutely. So there are limitations in place, but Joe, to your point, that is basically the intent here, right? Is to give players some manner and measure of control over the nature of their build as they're beginning to go through those steps. But the Codex of Power is a way for them to basically take these aspects, and then they're able to go back to a crafter back in one of the major cities, our new occultist crafter, actually. And when they go to the occultist, they can hand off actually, we're showing it right now. Our sorcerer's friend has just earned aspect of overwhelming bolts, which is going to allow her charge bolts ability to go and fire 2 more projectiles with each cast. She's going for like an up close and personal melee lightning build. So this shotgun approach for her spender is going to be really, really useful. More bolts, more damage, definitely very good. Minor trade-off for the mana cost, but still what ends up being worth in the end. Here we can see that the sorceress is now heading over to the occultist and is going to be choosing to imbue this aspect into one of their existing items. So she takes the item. So you're looking at a lot of work in progress stuff that we're looking at here, because this is a live cast. We'd like to be able to show some things off. You have an opportunity to go and basically override the existing legendary power on this and put in the new power they've just collected through the Codex of Power. So in this way, players get this deterministic way to kind of collect a series of these legendary powers that are out there in the game for them to find. But it's not all of them. You can only find some of the legendary powers overall in the game. There are over 120 dungeons in the game. So this represents like a lot of really exciting and interesting things for you to collect as you're going through these areas. Also, you don't just find legendary powers for your class. You'll find legendary powers for all of the classes as you go, and some ones that can work on multiple classes as well. And then we think this is really cool because every time you find an aspect that you can put in your